Okay, let's just picture this for a second. The temperature is dropping. It's so cold, your breath is just hanging in the air.
Dead of night.
Dead of night, freezing. You're on the stone ramparts of Elsinore Castle in Denmark. The wind is just howling. You can't see anything, and you're completely and utterly terrified.
And you're not terrified of the dark. You're terrified because these tough military guards, guys like Bernardo and Francisco, they're whispering about a thing.
A thing that shows up at midnight, on the dot.
It really sets the perfect stage for a psychological thriller, doesn't it?
Mm.
And, well, that's exactly what we're doing today. A deep dive into William Shakespeare's Hamlet.
But we are stripping away the high school English class trauma. No memorizing soliloquies, I promise.
Right, we're not diagramming sentences here. We are looking at this thing for what it is.
Which is a high-stakes story about espionage, regicide, a deeply messed up family, and a government that is just rotting from the inside.
I mean, it's basically a political thriller where everyone is spying on everyone else, and there are ghosts. It's like Succession meets a horror movie.
So our mission today is to take this massive play, and we're looking at a really fascinating source text that has some interesting curveballs, and just pull out the wildest twists. We're talking ghosts, solving cold cases, state-sponsored surveillance, pirates.
And a finale that has a higher body count than most action movies. Seriously.
Exactly. But in the middle of all the, stabbing and poisoning, we have to figure out what is going on inside our main character's head. Why does he wait so long? Is he mad? Is he a genius?
Or is he just paralyzed? That's the eternal question, isn't it? Madness or method. But to get to his unraveling, you have to start with the catalyst, and it all goes back to that thing on the ramparts.
So the guards get Hamlet's best friend, Horatio, to come see it. The clock hits 12, this figure appears, and the source is so clear this is not some spooky sheet with eye holes.
No, it looks undeniably real. It's the spitting image of the late King Hamlet. And the text is very, very specific here. He's dressed in the exact armor he wore when he fought Norway.
That feels important.
It's a crucial detail. It connects the supernatural terror to a very real military anxiety. This ghost isn't just a family issue. He's dressed for war. It's a terrible omen for the state of Denmark.
Because the country is already on edge. There's this external threat, right?
Exactly. You can't get the tension inside the castle without the border crisis. Young Fortinbras of Norway is out there raising this band of lawless resolutes, basically a mercenary army, to take back the lands his father lost to King Hamlet.
So you have this pressure from the outside, and then this ghost shows up in full battle gear.
It's bad. So, of course, Hamlet has to see it for himself. He goes up there, the ghost appears, and it beckons him away to a cliff edge for the big reveal.
Now, up to this point, the official story, the palace press release on the old king's death, was pretty mundane.
Yeah, the official story was he was napping in his garden, and a snake bit him. A tragic, natural accident.
Very convenient. But the ghost tells Hamlet the truth is much, much uglier. He says, "The serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown."
It wasn't a snake. It was Claudius, the king's own brother, and now the new king.
And the murder method they describe is so specific, it's almost medical and just gruesome.
Oh, it's incredibly visceral. The source says Claudius snuck up while he was sleeping and poured a vial of this cursed hebanon, this potent poison, right into his ear.
Into his ear. That feels symbolic, doesn't it? Usually you poison a drink or something.
Oh, hugely. Shakespeare's always obsessed with poisoning people through words, through rumors. You poison their ear. Here he makes it literal, and the ghost describes it moving through his veins like quicksilver, causing his skin to instantly crust over with this horrible leprosy-like texture.
So he lost his life, his crown, his queen, all in his sleep, without even a chance to confess his sins.
Which is a huge deal. He's stuck in purgatory. And that's where the mission comes from. The ghost tells Hamlet, "Avenge me. Kill Claudius." But, and this is the massive constraint that drives the whole story, he says, "Taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother."
Leave mom out of it.
Leave her to heaven, which is an incredibly difficult thing to ask Hamlet. Because if you look at the situation in Denmark, his mother is right at the center of all his anger.
Let's talk about that timeline. The old king dies. How long is it before Claudius marries the widow, Gertrudis?
Less than 2 months.
2 months. I mean, I'd barely be done with the thank you cards for the funeral flowers.
Yeah.
She's already remarried to her brother-in-law.
It's a huge scandal. Yeah. Hamlet is he's furious. He has this savage line about how the funeral bake meats were used to coldly furnish the marriage tables.
He's basically saying, you guys saved money on catering by serving the funeral leftovers at the wedding. That's such a brutal burn.
It just highlights the sheer indecency of it all. So while the court is celebrating this new marriage, Hamlet's walking around in an ink-black cloak, totally alone in his grief. He compares his father to a god and this new stepdad, Claudius, to a beast, a satyr.
So Hamlet's grieving, he's disgusted, and now a ghost has just told him his uncle is a murderer. But he's got a problem. You can't just walk up and stab the king.
Right. I mean, in any legal sense, a ghost told me so is not going to hold up in court. He needs proof, and he needs to stay alive long enough to get it.
So he decides to fake it. He puts on a mask.
The antic disposition. He decides to feign madness. It's a very clever, very dangerous game. If everyone thinks you're crazy, you're sort of invisible. You can say things, do things a sane man couldn't get away with.
You can insult the king right to his face.
And everyone just pats you on the head and says, oh, poor Hamlet, he's lost his mind.
But the king's not an idiot. He's suspicious. And this is where we see that Elsinore is basically a surveillance state. Everyone is spying on everyone.
And that brings us to Polonius, the Lord Chamberlain. He's the king's right-hand man, a bit of a windbag. And unfortunately for Hamlet, he's the father of Ophelia, the woman Hamlet loves.
And the tragedy of Ophelia really starts right here. She's completely controlled by the men in her life. She's just a pawn they move around the board.
Totally. First, her brother Laertes warns her off him. He says, look, Hamlet's a prince. His will belongs to the state, not himself. He can't marry you, so don't let him ruin your reputation.
Which is harsh, but probably true. And then her dad, Polonius, takes it a step further. He doesn't just warn her, he orders her to cut Hamlet off completely. No more letters, no more seeing him.
And she obeys. She's a dutiful daughter. And this directly leads to one of the scariest scenes for her. She runs to her father, terrified, describing how Hamlet just burst into her room.
This is the antic disposition in action.
Oh, big time. She says his clothes are a mess, stockings down to his ankles, he's pale as a ghost. He grabs her wrist, just stares into her face like he's memorizing it, and then lets out this sigh that sounds like it shatters his whole body.
And for Polonius, this is the smoking gun. He thinks, aha, he's not mad about his father's death. He's mad with love ecstasy because my daughter dumped him.
Which is probably exactly what Hamlet wanted him to think. It's a perfect cover story. But it leads to Polonius and Claudius using Ophelia as bait. They set up this accidental meeting in the hallway while they hide behind a tapestry to watch.
And this is the setup for maybe the most famous speech in all of English literature. To be or not to be.
Right. Hamlet walks in. He doesn't know he's being watched yet, and he's just debating suicide. Existence versus non-existence. Is it better to suffer through life or to just end it? And the only thing stopping him is the fear of what comes after death, the undiscovered country.
It's this moment of total vulnerability, and then he sees Ophelia. And at first, he's actually gentle with her.
But then it turns. The whole interaction becomes brutal. A lot of people think Hamlet realizes partway through that he's being watched. He sees the tapestry move, or maybe she's just acting strangely.
And he just snaps. He knows she's part of the trap.
He attacks her. He tells her, get thee to a nunnery. He denies he ever loved her. It's just heartbreaking because you know he's sacrificing her to keep his cover. He has to sell the madness, even if it destroys the person he loves.
But the king is not buying it. Claudius watches all this and says, basically, that's not love sickness, and it's not normal madness either. There's something dangerous brooding in his mind.
So the pressure is on. Hamlet needs concrete proof, and fast. He can't just rely on the ghost anymore. So when a troupe of traveling actors shows up at the castle, Hamlet gets an idea.
The mousetrap. I love this part because it shows how brilliant Hamlet is. He's using art as a detective tool.
Exactly. He asks the actors to perform a certain play, but he tells them he's going to add a scene that he writes himself that mimics his father's murder exactly.
He's looking for a reaction.
He wants to catch the conscience of the king, and it works perfectly. During the performance, as the actor king is poisoned in the ear, Claudius just loses it. He jumps up, shouts, give me some light, and storms out.
And for Hamlet and Horatio, that's it. That's the confession. The king knows that Hamlet knows.
So the gloves are off. It is open war now. Hamlet goes to confront his mother in her bedroom, and this scene it's incredibly intense. He's aggressive, shouting, forcing her to look at pictures of her two husbands.
He's trying to shame her, right? Comparing the godlike first husband to the mildewed ear of Claudius.
And Gertrudis is terrified. She thinks he's actually going to kill her, so she cries out. And because this is Elsinore,
Someone is always listening.
Polonius,
Yeah.
hiding behind the arras, the big tapestry on the wall.
Of course he is.
He hears the queen scream and yells for help from behind the curtain. Hamlet, in that split second, thinks it's the king hiding there. He draws his sword and just stabs right through the fabric.
How now? A rat. He thinks he's finally done it.
He thinks he's killed the king, but he pulls back the curtain and finds Polonius dead.
And that's the point of no return.
It is. He hasn't killed the villain. He's killed a nosy but mostly harmless old man, the father of the woman he loves. Hamlet has just crossed the line from victim to killer.
So Claudius has to act, but he can't just execute Hamlet because the people love him. So he comes up with another plan. He's sending him to England for his safety.
And he sends him with two of his old schoolmates. Now, we usually know them as Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, but the specific source text we're looking at today calls them Ricardo and Guillermo.
That's a really interesting quirk, Ricardo and Guillermo.
It really is. It shows you how these texts can shift. But their job is the same. They're his escorts, and they're carrying a sealed letter from Claudius to the King of England.
And Hamlet, who is now a full-blown spy, sneaks into their cabin and reads the letter. What does it say?
It's a death warrant. It orders the King of England to execute Hamlet the moment he arrives. Strike off his head.
So Hamlet pulls this incredible counterintelligence move. He rewrites the letter. He even has a copy of the royal seal in his pocket. So he forges it and changes the order to say that the bearers of the letter Ricardo and Guillermo should be executed instead.
It's absolutely ruthless. He sends his old friends to their deaths without blinking. He justifies it later, saying they got caught between two mighty opposing forces.
He escapes back to Denmark after a run-in with pirates, which is a whole other story, but yes, pirates.
Yeah.
And he gets home. But while he's been gone, the damage has just been piling up. We have to talk about Ophelia.
This is the truly tragic part. This is the real cost of this whole revenge plot. Her father has been murdered by her ex-boyfriend. The man she loved has completely rejected her. Her mind just, it shatters.
The source describes her wandering the castle, singing these broken songs about death and flowers, handing out imaginary herbs to the court. It's so disturbing.
It's a complete psychological breakdown,
Mm-hmm.
and it creates a power vacuum. Laertes comes back from France to find his father dead and his sister insane, and he is furious. He leads a mob right to the castle gates, ready to overthrow Claudius.
He's the anti-Hamlet, really. Hamlet thinks and delays. Laertes just kicks the door down.
Exactly. But Claudius is a master manipulator. He calms Laertes down. He says, "I didn't kill your father, Hamlet did," and he channels all of Laertes' rage.
He turns Laertes into his own personal assassin, which sets up the final act. But before that, we get this incredible, quiet moment. The graveyard scene.
Hamlet and Horatio are walking back to the castle, and they stumble upon these gravediggers who are literally tossing skulls around to make room.
And Hamlet picks one up, and the gravedigger tells him it belonged to Yorick, the old king's jester.
Alas, poor Yorick. It's such a grounding moment. Hamlet is staring death, literally in the face. He realizes that no matter who you are, a jester, Alexander the Great, you end up as dust. He imagines Alexander's dust being used to plug a beer barrel.
It's the ultimate equalizer. You can conquer the world, but eventually you're just clay stopping up a hole.
And then a funeral procession arrives. It's Ophelia's. She's drowned.
And the priest is barely willing to give her a Christian burial because her death looks like a suicide.
Hamlet just loses it. He reveals himself, he leaps into the grave with Laertes, and they actually fight, right there on top of her coffin. Hamlet screams that he loved Ophelia more than 40,000 brothers.
It's pure chaos, but it seals his fate. Claudius pulls Laertes aside and says, "Don't worry, we have a plan."
The triple threat murder plot. It's a friendly fencing match, but they're cheating in 3 different ways.
Okay, level 1, the sword.
Right. Fencing foils are supposed to be blunted. Laertes will be sharp.
Level 2, chemical warfare.
Laertes dips the tip of that sharp sword in a poison so deadly that a single scratch means death.
And level 3, the backup plan.
Just in case Hamlet wins without getting hit, Claudius will have a poisoned pearl to drop into a cup of wine to offer him as a celebration.
They are leaving nothing to chance. So we get to the finale. The whole court is watching. Hamlet versus Laertes.
And at first, Hamlet is winning. He's on fire. He scores the first 2 hits. The king gets nervous and offers Hamlet the poisoned wine. Hamlet says, "Not yet. I'll finish this round first."
And then the first domino falls. Queen Gertrudis, who has no idea about any of this, picks up that exact cup to toast her son.
The king tries to stop her. He says, "Gertrudis, do not drink." But he can't explain why without exposing the entire plot in front of everybody, so he just freezes. He watches his wife drink the poison.
Then, in the next exchange, Laertes gets his hit. He wounds Hamlet with the poisoned blade. Hamlet is bleeding. He's a dead man. He just doesn't know it yet.
But it gets chaotic. It stops being a sport and becomes a brawl. In the scuffle, they drop their swords and somehow swap them. Hamlet picks up Laertes' sword, the sharp, poisoned one, and wounds Laertes.
So now they're both doomed.
Both of them. And then the queen collapses. She cries out, the drink, I am poisoned.
And the truth just explodes into the open. Laertes, dying, confesses everything. He yells, the king's to blame.
And Hamlet, finally, after all this thinking and delaying and philosophizing, he acts. He turns the poisoned sword on Claudius.
He stabs him. And then for good measure, he grabs the poisoned cup and forces the rest of the wine down the king's throat.
Follow my mother, he says. It is brutal. And in the space of about 2 minutes, the king, the queen, Laertes, and Hamlet are all dead or dying.
It's a total wipeout. The only one left is Horatio, and Hamlet stops him from drinking the last of the poison because someone has to live to tell the story.
Absent thee from felicity a while, he tells him. Stay in this harsh world a little longer and set the record straight.
And as everything goes silent in this room full of bodies, you hear drums.
This young Fortinbras, remember him?
Yeah.
The threat from the very beginning of the play. He's coming back from his victory in Poland, and he walks into the throne room and finds the entire Danish royal family dead.
And Hamlet, with his last breath, gives his dying vote for Fortinbras to be the new king. He literally hands the kingdom over to Norway.
And that's the final image. The Norwegian army carrying Hamlet's body out like a soldier to the sound of cannons. It's a complete regime change, bought with blood.
So when you step back from all that carnage, what's the big takeaway? Why are we still obsessed with this story?
I think it's because it shows the absolute, total destruction that comes from revenge and corruption. Claudius killed his brother for power, and in the end, he lost his wife, his life, his heir, and his entire kingdom to a foreign army.
It makes you think about Hamlet's delay, right? We spend the whole play kind of yelling at him, just do it, kill the guy. But when the action finally happens, it takes everyone down with it. The good, the bad, the innocent. The whole state collapses.
And that's the provocation, I think. We criticize Hamlet for thinking too much, but look at what acting did. It raises a really disturbing question. Would Denmark have been better off if Hamlet had just done nothing?
Right.
If he just let the crime slide?
That maybe sometimes the cure is worse than the disease.
Or that in a state that's truly rotten, there is no clean way to fix it. The rot has to be cut out, even if it kills the patient.
That is a dark thought to end on, but, well, it is a tragedy. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the darkness of Elsinore.
Until next time, keep reading.